Okay, this I'm going to try this, but I'm just going to show you how I'm actually trying. I actually did this on several of these pearls where they were sitting too low. I was just able to lift a corner. These were already installed with epoxy, dyed with black stain for the ebony fretboard. What I did is I found these, you know, what looks like dental picks at, I think it was Home Depot or Lowe's, I don't remember. And basically what I do is I get right near the seam line of one of the pearls. After I heat it up with a heat gun, I'll just begin to try to, I create a little tiny hole right against, you know, where the pearl is and begin to slowly pull up. If it doesn't give, you know, don't pry it. So what I'm attempt to do is try to film the process of me resetting one of these so you can see how it's done. Hopefully this will turn out okay without burning my phone up. So here we go. I don't want the pearl to crack, which I assume it could do. So what I do is I just begin to work this back and forth, watching it. And as you watch it, I can't really show this on film very well, but maybe I can do this. You'll see the, at least in the way I installed these pearl inlays, was around the edges. You might be able to see it a little bit now. It's starting to shine. That's the epoxy. You'll see the epoxy start to basically get wet again and loosen up. So I've already set these in, so what I'm going to do is, you know, every so often try to lift it. I'm going to do it till I see it shiny around the edges, and I'll put the pick in and begin to pry up just a little bit. You'll feel it loosen up, but don't try to pry it up. Just a little bit of force, but you know, you don't want to break the pearl. So it's kind of a fine line. I don't know if I'm going to crack the pearl by doing this or what, but we'll see what happens. It's the only way you learn is by making mistakes. I made a lot of them on this build, but next time I should do a lot better in building a Les Paul. Or we'll see if I ever do this again. Don't let anybody tell you this is really easy, because it's not, especially when trying to set these pearls in perfectly level and such. So let's just do it a while. I'll back up a little bit just in case, because I don't want to get, you know, too much heat too quick. So I just back up a little bit more, and I do it some. Then I'll work in close again. Just keep doing that. And I can't really see where it's breaking up, but or getting wet around the edges. But one of them I think didn't really look all that wet around the edge. So let's try it. When I pulled one of them up earlier, I just remembered that. So what I'm going to do is put this here like this and slowly. Well, kind of feel like it might be loosening, but I don't want to pry it. So what, it may have raised a little bit. Actually, that may have done it. See, I don't want to pull them all the way out anyway. I just want it to be level with the surface. I'm not going to touch that because it's really hot. But it looks like I raised the back corner here. The problem, you can see I tried to sand this. And if you look here really close, and I can't touch that, but you see some scratches in this corner back here that are really deep looking. See if we can see that in the shining light here. You can't really see it on this camera with this light and everything. Maybe a little bit right here. You probably see it now. Those scratches are really deep, and I want them to polish out level with the rest of the fretboard, okay? But the reason why those scratches didn't come out and the rest of them did all the way across the pearl is because it was just low in this back corner here. So by raising it just a skosh, looks like I've done it. And I don't know if I can show it in the camera here, but you might be able to see it a little bit. It's not really going to show it, but I'll be able to tell there a little bit. Anyway, take my word for it. Back here is raised, I mean, just enough to where you could barely hang your nail. Probably half a nail, fingernail thickness, or less than that really. Just enough to where you could barely feel it. You know, when if you would run your finger across it when it wasn't hot. But looks like I've done it. I've done that with several pearls already. And so if you set your inlays in too deep in one corner and too high in another, you can sand through the pearl on one side and the other side won't get sanded. So when you set your pearl in, this is my suggestion if you're doing inlay work from a guy that made mistakes, is when you do set your pearl in, before you do, especially before you do any sanding, just kind of might want to start off with some really light grit sandpaper, like 320 or something like that, and just begin to slowly sand. But you try to set them level as you can, but even then they got to be low enough to where the corners, especially in this type of when you have these points coming out farther than the rest of the pearl, you know, those will get sanded off very easily, trust me. So what you try to do in the first place is try to set them as close to flush as you can. And I would suggest, I meant barely above, and make sure they're level all the way across. Otherwise, you might be reordering pearl like I did. This is my second set, so hopefully I don't mess these up. But there's another thing you can do. I saw some other guys do it. Of course, there's better videos on it on the internet that, you know, do a lot better justice. But you can actually sand the radius in the pearl in like a radius block, which I've done a video on how to make a radius block. And this is one I made, and I put tape, put some double stick tape on the back side of it, and used 320 sandpaper. And that's how I get my pearl perfectly flush with the top of the fretboard. So everything will be the perfect 12-inch radius that I'm looking for. So anyway, looks like I got one more pearl to go, and I hope this would help someone out there that's trying to do this and having the same problem. Okay.